Hello everyone, and welcome to the about an hour class that we're going to have today. The class will be for use of a band. So this band is from Dollarama. It is a medium strength. They're red and blue ones. They seem to be both the same strength. So if you go to the dollar store and you pick up one of these, you'll be able to participate in this class. The other thing I have are a couple of yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, don't worry about it. Just modify it the way it works best for you. I will be using this as an option to open up hips. So if you want to follow along with a block, otherwise you can just do it flat on your back. All right, so that's what we need for the class today. My name is Mary. Remember that I'm not being able to see you and I'm not in a position to be able to assess you. So make sure that you are taking your body into consideration. You're modifying the exercises. You're stopping if anything feels unusual. And unfortunately, the risks are going to be yours for taking it in your own home. So do a quick look around. Make sure you got nothing that you're going to kick or knock over or anything like that. So just do a quick area room check. And when you're ready to go, then let's hit play. So if you're good to follow me down to your mat, I like to just do a nice little grounding exercise. And again, that just means we're sitting down on our mats in any way that feels comfortable for us. We always have the option to use that block. Again, if you have a block by you and you want to sit on it just so that the hips can come a little bit more forward, it opens up the hips a little easier. We can roll our shoulders up, back, and down, and as long as you have that tall spine, I think that you're doing just fine. All right, so block or no block, I'm going to remove the block, and then I'm just going to settle in, rocking side to side. Eyes open or closed, always your choice. And if you're ready to follow me with some breath and movement, we're going to inhale our shoulders all the way up to our ears. We're going to exhale, pull them back, and slide them down and together. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, pull back, and then slide down and together. Two more times. Inhale, up. Exhale, pull back and down. Our last one, roll the shoulders all the way up. Slide them back, pull them down so you've got a nice V shape with the blades squeezing in towards your spines. Your hands can be placed on your lap, palms down or palms up. Then I just want us to take a nice deep breath in through the nose if we can. And slowly exhale through the nose if it's available. If not, remember you can always use mouth breathing. There's nothing wrong with that. Inhale. And try and slow as you exhale. Do that two more times, just being aware of where we're sending the air as we inhale. Then trying to exhale fully and completely all of the air from our lungs. And the last one, inhale from the rib cage, expanding the belly. And then slowly exhaling, squeezing all the air out. Let's add our hands with a little motion with the breath. So inhale, rise those hands all the way up. Look up to the ceiling if it's available. Exhale, bring those hands down through center, chin to chest. Roll the shoulders forward and look at your belly. Take those hands, keep your head exactly where it is, but take those hands right behind. Reach as far behind as you can. Then you're going to inhale, scoop up to the sky, maybe a little bit of a back bend. And then we're going to exhale, dive forward, gaze down at your belly button, reach those hands right behind. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, scoop around, look up, little back bend. Exhale, sweep down into the dive, reach behind. 2 more. Inhale, expanding those lungs. And then exhale, bring yourself down. Let's do this 1 more time. Big reach around up to the sky. And then exhale, sweep down. We're going to inhale those hands all the way up. Eyes can be open or closed. You're just going to grab onto one of your wrists, doesn't matter which one, and pull in the opposite direction. Just a nice big side stretch, keeping both of your butt cheeks down on the mat.
If we want to turn our head to look up to the sky, that might feel good. We might want to turn it down to look to the ground and just notice how our neck is feeling. Let's go ahead and release those hands all the way down. Sit up nice and tall. Take a big breath. Inhale, rise up. Grab onto the other wrist. Let's lean over to the side, minding that we have both of our butt cheeks down on the mat. Just leaning over. Again, we can look all the way up to the sky. We can turn our gaze down to the ground. We're going to release the stretch, bring our hands all the way behind us. We're going to wake up those hips. So roll the shoulders back and down. Lean back. We're going to open up the chest. We might look to the sky. And then we're just going to take our hips and we're going to open up so that we have our feet just outside of the hips. And then we're just going to drop one knee towards the side, letting the other one follow. Look over the opposite shoulder. And then do it on the other side. Reach with those knees in one direction, look in the other. Inhale over to one side. And then over to the other. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves back into the center. Let's walk those feet closer to one another. Let's go ahead and wind ourselves just up around and give ourselves a nice little hug here. Roll out that back, tuck that chin in, separate the blades. And then let's move on towards our tabletop position. So those hands are underneath the shoulders, the knees are underneath the hips, the toes are tucked. We want to roll the shoulders up, back, and down. We want to look down at our mats. Now the tendency is to want to press into those wrists. So you need to put the weight just a little bit forward so that you're pressing down through all those fingers. The trick is, if you need to, fold up your mat. Your fingertips are lower than your wrists. This is going to naturally put you in a position where you're going to be using your fingertips and not the wrists. So remember, that's always an option. Decide how we feel today. Let's do it again, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, flat back. We're going to take our front leg and send it all the way back. I like to slide mine along the mat so my toe is still touching. Then I bring it up to hip height so that I know my hips are squared and I'm using the glutes. Shoulders stay back, and then we're going to pull that knee into the side. We might touch our tricep, our elbow, and then we send it, kick it all the way back. So let's try that a couple of times. We're going to exhale, pull it into the side, waking up the side body, and then send it back out. 2 more times. Exhale, reach with that knee wherever it goes, and then kick it straight back. 1 more time, pull it into the elbow, and then kick it straight back. If you're feeling good today, you can start to slide the back hand up. You can keep it down, and already we're starting into a balancing pose. Your hand has to be directly under your shoulder, so we're completely stacked there. And then we can take our thumb and bring it to the sky. And if that feels particularly good for you, you can stay here and just float to that knee again. If you need to take a break, do so. If you want the add-on, we're going to bring our elbow into our ribs on the other side. So we're going to bring knee to tricep and elbow to rib, and then shoot all the way back out. So exhale, pull in, really deep crunch here, and then reach out and stretch. 2 more times. Now we're getting in the shoulder blades, squeezing it in towards the spine, and you're using the side obliques. We got balance, so your core is working, back is working. 1 more time. Pull in, squeeze, and then reach out, release. Oh, I'm already warming up. So let's come into our first child's pose. Big toes can touch, knees outside your hips. Let's just send our hips towards the back of our mat. We can lengthen out through the top of the mat. Your head can just hang. You can put a block down. You can put your head all the way down onto the mat and give yourself a nice little rock side to side on the temple.
Maybe we have some trigger points there, some pressure might feel good as we rock side to side. Then I want you to walk yourself up. We're just going to release these wrists by rolling them out a couple times. Anytime you need to roll them out, just stop, take a moment, roll them out. Inhale the hands all the way up, and then sweep them down. We're coming back into our tabletop. Okay, so remember the options here. There's another option for you as well. You can always make fists for wrists. The energy goes straight down. This is comfortable for some people. I prefer to have my hands flat out and making them look like a starfish. So spread those fingers out as wide as you can. Then we have the option of rolling up the mat, or we can just stay in this position, roll the shoulders back and down, pull the belly, engage the core. Knees are underneath our hips, our toes are tucked, and then we're sending out that back leg. There's no worry about rushing into any of these postures. We're going to use the muscles that we want to strengthen, which in this case would be glutes, core, and you're rolling your shoulders back so they're stable in the girdle. Then we're going to take an exhale, bring the knee towards your elbow or your tricep, and then send it back up. We're rooting down through those hands. We're keeping a neutral spine. Exhale, pull in, and inhale, send back. How slowly can you do this? It's all about control. When we move fast, we don't think about it. We use momentum. But right now we're using every single bit of muscle to pull in, thinking about it as we go, and then kicking back. All right, we can take a break here. We can stay here. We can move on. Sliding that front hand out. We can also lift it up so that the thumb is to the sky. When we go again, we make sure that our hand is stacked right underneath the shoulder on the stabilizing hand. And then we're pulling elbow to rib and knee to elbow. And send it all the way back. Remember your breath. Exhale as we crunch in, squeeze, sliding the shoulder blade in towards spine, and then kicking straight back, stabilizing through shoulder girdles. Pull in as much as you can. Send it back. Last time, thank goodness I know. Pull in and touch and reach and lengthen. Release the hand down, release the knee down, child's pose, push back and relax. If you want an extra little stretch here, I'm going to turn towards the front. You can pull those hands down by your shoulders. Flip the palms up and notice where my wrists are. They're still right against the ground. And then when that is possible, I can slide my elbows down towards the base of the mat and get a nice stretch all along the front of the wrist here and into the forearm. Again, if you don't like it, don't worry about it. Just roll the wrists out. Do something that makes you comfortable. A couple of more breaths here. And then we're going to release those wrists. Walk yourself up by pressing into those hands. And then seeing if you have your band close by. Open it up nice and wide and just put it at the top of the mat. And then just leave it there. Don't have to worry about it for a moment. And then if you have two blocks that you know that you might want to use, you can have them on either side of you as well. Okay? If you don't use blocks, don't worry about it. I'm just going to show an option. We're going to give ourselves into our first downward facing dog. So my toes are tucked, knees underneath my hips, fingertips spread nice and wide, shoulders back and down, sending the hips high and pressing into those hands, rooting down. Let the head hang, give it a shake. Maybe a shake no, maybe a shake yes. Maybe we do some figure eights, whatever feels right to make sure that we're not holding our head up. We don't need the neck muscles engaged. From here, I want you to keep a soft knee bend and just press your hips a little further into the sky, almost like you want to reach your rib cage to your thighs. And then from here, we're just going to walk the dog. So let's drop our front heel down, bend greatly into the back leg, into the knee. Give it a nice little stretch here.
Again, you can keep a soft knee bend. You can press through as long as we're not feeling intense pain. We never want to feel pain in our yoga practice. We want to feel stretch. We want to feel sensation. And then we're going to switch to the other side, nice and slow. Take your time, press that heel back. You should be starting to feel the blood pressure change. Your head is lower than your heart. You're in an inversion. A couple of deep breaths here. Then we're going to pick it up. We're just going to start walking our dog nice and slow. I also like to get the hips involved at this point. So if you're feeling a little fun and you want to start to send the hips out to the side, you're thinking of drawing a big figure eight. So one circle with one hip, and then you drop down and rise up on the other side. You don't have to worry about what it looks like. If you like the way it feels, then it's good. So a couple more times, just walking your dog however you want to, pedaling the feet, rolling the hips, and then we're going to come back into our downward facing dog. Nice big stretch here. We're going to lift that front leg up. So go ahead and lift it high into the sky, three-legged dog. Now it doesn't matter how your dog looks, just lift that leg up. Couple of deep breaths. Okay, I let my head, I brought in all that energy again, so I'm shaking it out. I don't need to hold it up. On your exhale, pull the knee right up into the chest. You can look between your hands. You can help it with a hand or just place that foot down. Drop your back knee, and we're going to rise up. Okay, here's where you might want some blocks to assist you, so you don't have to come all the way down. Or you can come down when we do our flow. So knee over ankle, the knee can float a little forward, but I just don't want too much deviation side to side. So once we've got this position, come on up. We're going to pull our elbows behind us, giving a nice big chest open. We're going to dive forward and we're going to cross our elbows over as we come down, or you're holding onto your blocks. Inhale, pull back, and then exhale, cross at the elbows and reach down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale all the way back, and then cross at the elbows. We're going to pull back for this last time. Pull back, and then we're going to place our hands down, either on our blocks or right down beside our foot. From here, I want you to just send your hips back. We're going to start to lengthen through the back of the leg, that front leg. You can point the toes. We can walk those blocks back a little bit. You can keep the knee bent, or maybe you come down as far as I do. Again, this is all just personal. As long as you're feeling a stretch in the back of the leg into the hamstrings, you're good. I've also got my back toe tucked. That's giving me a big toe stretch. You can put your foot flat on the floor. Whatever works for you, this is your stretch. Just breathe. Once you're ready, we're going to come all the way back up again. We're going to place our hands on either side of the foot. You might have your blocks. And we're just going to walk ourselves forward. And if you're able to walk up onto your knee, you can. Your toe can be flat or tucked. Your choice. And if you're good here, we can push back into a back bend, deepening the hip flexor. So now we've got a big open spot through the hip flexor, a little deeper than we did it earlier. We've got our hand on our thigh so that we can look back. We're stable. Tuck the chin, come back down. Walk yourself all the way down. Come into a downward facing dog. Now I like to do a little walk here, and I give the option of chaturangas. Now again, if chaturangas are not for you, then you can skip them by all means. If you are good for a chaturanga, I'll just move that block out of the way. We can go ahead and drop to those knees. I like to start from the knees first because you got to figure out how the shoulders are feeling today. Every day is different. So now that we've got our hands down, our knees down, we're going to come to a plank kneeling. So just come forward, and we've got a long spine. The weight of my chest is just forward of those hands. I'm going to lower myself down. Notice my elbows brush the ribs, and I'm using arms and back, not deltoids. Feet flat on the floor. We're going to inhale to baby cobra. So we're only going to lift up a little bit. Squeeze the butt, push the feet down, look down at your mat, elbows in at your side, and you should really be feeling huge activation in the lower back. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes for the stretch.
knees float outside and you come back into child's pose. Okay, so that is one variation of our flow of a chaturanga. So let's go ahead and do that again. We'll just do it a little faster. You're inhaling from the knees. You're exhaling, lowering down. Feet flat on the floor. You inhale a little bit, come up, squeezing the butt. Exhale, tuck the toes, child's pose. All right, next level, starting from downward facing dog. Going ahead and coming into your plank, weight of the chest just forward of those hands. You can drop to the knees now or lower all the way down to your mat. We can come into a full cobra, pressing into those hands, arching back, looking up at the sky, pressing into those toes. Bigger, deeper stretch here. Tucking your toes, exhale into downward facing dog, or you can go from child's pose into downward facing dog. The next one is the full level chaturanga with the up dog. If you care to do that one, or just continue to rest, walk your dog, or do another variation. Inhale to come forward. Exhale, lower down, but we don't touch all the way down. We flip our toes over, knees are off the mat. Lift up into that up dog so the knees stay off the mat. Then we send our hips high. We come back into downward facing dog, and that is a full chaturanga. Okay, there is no extra benefit to being able to do it. It's just a different level. You're still working the same muscles, whether you are down on your knees. And I would prefer people to get stronger by doing the version that makes sense for them. Let's go ahead and lift our back leg up high into the sky. Three-legged dog. Let that head hang. Oh my goodness, I wanted to hold it up, so just let it go. Your foot can stay as high as you need it to be. On your next exhale, pull the knee into the chest. Look between the hands. Use your hands to help guide that foot down or drop it in between the hands. Down with that back knee. Blocks or no blocks, rise it on up. Little back bend here, so we're pulling back. And then we're gonna cross over in the front. So remember, hands can be on blocks. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, cross forward. One more time, pull back. Exhale, come forward. We're going to pull our elbows to our ribs, pull back. Bring those hands all the way down to the mat. My back toe is tucked, but you can release it down. And all we're doing is lengthening out that front leg, walking yourself back. If you feel that stretch here, you stay right here. You use those blocks to hold yourself up. If our hamstrings are really tight because we sit a lot of the day, you might be here. If you have a little bit more flexibility, you might want to drop down. My toe is pointed. And on this side, I have a little bit more flexibility. I might even bring myself down a little further. I can feel the stretch here. Okay, I'm also getting that toe stretch in the plantar surface of my foot. Put your foot flat down if it's too much. Couple of more breaths. You're just feeling this stretch. Then when you're ready, let's walk ourselves up. We're coming in a little bit forward so the hands can walk a little bit forward. We're dropping the hip down. So now we're into a big hip flexor stretch. You can stay right here because we're bringing my knee, you can see, is well past my toes. My foot can be flat. I like tucking it, just makes it a little bit more protected for my kneecap. And then if you're good to go, you can walk yourself up onto your thigh. And if you're good here, you might want to press back and give yourself a back bend here. Okay, so you can press off to lean back, opening up deeply into that hip flexor. Couple more deep breaths here. Tuck the chin to start the roll down, release the hands down. Take a step back into your downward facing dog. You can choose to rest or to do a flow, knees or toes coming to the plank. Exhale, lower down. You can go all the way to the ground. Inhale your baby cobra, your full cobra, your up dog. And then exhale, back into downward facing dog or child's pose to down dog. Let's go ahead and lift that first leg up all the way to the sky again. We're going to just rotate that ankle a couple of times, let the head hang. We're going to pull the knee right up into that chest. and we're gonna place that foot down. Okay, drop the back knee, and then you're gonna be able to grab that band and slide it right underneath your foot. Okay, it's about equal on both sides. We're gonna pick up the band, and we're gonna have our thumbs pointing to the sky, okay? Once we've got that, we've got it stably underneath the foot, roll the shoulders back and down, and then all I want you to do is pull the elbows back and together. We're squeezing at the band. And then we're gonna release and lower down, okay? So pull the elbows back. Maybe we take that back bend here, squeeze, so we got a little bit more resistance, and then down. One more time, pull it back, elbows in at your side, squeeze, and then we're gonna release it down. Now you can stay here if you want a little bit more. When you pull up, we're gonna lift the back leg and we're gonna squeeze, and then we're going to dive down, okay? So pull back and squeeze, that front leg is working, getting a little bit more into the back, and then lower back down. We're just working with the bands. If you need a little more tension, lower the hands down onto the band, and then come back. One more time, pull it back, hold it here, and then lower the hands down. You've still got the band. Go ahead and take a step up so both feet are on your band. Okay, feet are hip distance apart. Make sure that you've got your feet completely on that band. Then we're just going to rise up to standing. Okay, shoulders up, back and down. I'll move a little bit more into the center of my mat just so you can see I'm centered here. We're going to continue with the tricep working. Shoulders up, back and down, and we're coming into our first chair pose, okay? So butt goes back, knees track towards the toes, middle of the knee towards second and third toe. So we're leaning forward, and then I'm tipping, okay? Let's go ahead and stand back up, squeeze the butt. Do it again. You've got some weight by this band is resisting you as you keep yourself tipping forward and the butt going back and down, knees towards the toes, and then come back up. We're gonna stay this time, all right? So we're gonna drop our backsides down, our knees come towards our toes, we lean forward, my elbows are now at my sides, we're squeezing in, and this is what we're gonna do. We're going to take the hands and lengthen them out the back, and then pull back in. Okay, you might come to the edge of your bands, and then kick it back, and bring it in. Feeling the backs of the arms work, brace the core, sink a little lower if you can. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale, and inhale. You've got two more. Exhale, squeeze. I'm looking down at the mat, pulling at the bands. One more time. Squeeze and stand tall. Ooh, chair pose with a little bit of tricep work. Shoulders up, back and down. All right, so soften the knees just a little bit, and you've still got your band in your hands. We're going to keep the elbows in at our sides. Okay, so I've locked them right in at the sides, shoulders back and down, and all I want you to do now is pull the band and turn, supinate that hand so that it's up to the, reaching your knuckles are pointing towards the sky. Okay, then bring it back down, and then do the other side, twist. Okay, so one, we're trying to get to 90 degrees. If you can only get a little bit lower, don't worry about it. Just pull and resist, elbows point to the floor and stay in at your side. Let's do it again. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. One more time each side. Exhale and inhale. If you can pull a little bit higher now that you're feeling stronger, getting blood to the muscle, go ahead and do it. All right, so now that we've done that, we're gonna put the two together. Come down into chair pose. Elbows come up high when you squat down. You're gonna kick back. You're gonna stand up and curl both hands, elbows stay at your side. Drop down, send the butt, come into chair, kick it back. And then stand tall, squeeze the butt, curl. Two more times. Exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and release. All right, roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to just release one of our feet from the band, release it from the other. Oops, and go ahead and take that all the way into both hands standing nice and wide on the mat. Okay, so once we have gotten nice and wide on the mat, we have our hands just outside of our shoulders. Okay. We're gonna sink into the squat. So again, you might want to come down a little bit. Maybe this is where you want to be. Shoulders are back and down. Maybe you can get a little bit deeper. Knees track towards toes. Remember, the center of the knee is tracking towards the second and third toe. So we don't want the knees to cave in. We're pushing them out. We're coming down. Okay, we're coming into a nice squat. If you need to at first hold on to the thighs, go ahead and then just send yourself back up. We're just warming inner thighs, okay? So exhale, come down, and inhale, come up. Go ahead one more time. Down and up. You can stay there or you have the band. When you come down now, we're going to send the pinkies to the side wall. So squat down and pull, bring that band towards your chest. It may or may not touch. And then bring it up. Now, what are we focusing on? Butts back and down, knees towards toes. Squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other, towards the spine. Remember that V that we did in our early breathing at the beginning of the class? So squeeze back and slide down the blades and come back up. 2 more times. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, rise. Last time, squeeze and rise. Oof. All right, so give a little roll here. Walk the feet back in, feet hip distance apart. Okay. Shoulders back and down. Walk the band in a little bit more so that you are in line with your shoulders, okay? So we had a wider grip before. I want you to go a little bit narrower, okay? So my thumbs are pointed in. We're just going to take this band now, and I'm gonna leave my right hand forward, and I'm gonna pull my left one all the way back to my shoulder. Little twist, and then bring it back, okay? And then we're gonna do it on the other side. Exhale. And bring it back. Pull, lengthen through that right arm, bend at the left, bring it back, and squeeze. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. Exhale, inhale, exhale, and inhale. Now I'm gonna say we're gonna do the same things, but I'm gonna show it to you from the side. Okay, so we're gonna have the back hand in this case, my right hand, and my left foot. So lift that left heel, your front heel, your back hand, okay? And this time, we're gonna step back as we pull with the same hand as leg that's going back. So front hand, front leg, step back and pull. And then step in, do the same thing on the other side. Step back into a lunge, and then up. So now we're balancing using our legs as well as the shoulders, squeezing the blades towards the spine, step back and pull, and back up. Now you can come into a nice deep lunge like me, almost to the floor, or you can stay a little higher. Pull back, exhale, and rise. One more time each side, pull back, and up, pull back, and up. Whew, okay, shake out those shoulders. Let's go ahead and put the band down. We can stay facing the top of our mat, or you can join me on the side. I'm just gonna take a big inhale all the way up. Then we're gonna exhale those hands down to the hips. We can squeeze those elbows together. We can soften those knees. If you have a little bit more, you can interlace the fingers behind your back, and then you can pull the hands down. And whether you have your hands on your hips or interlaced behind you, you may choose to dive. So if we're diving down, the knees are soft. We're just bringing ourselves into a bit of a forward fold. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can bring those hands up behind your body. It floats over your head. You're bringing your knees into a slight bend so that you have stability. We don't really want to lock a joint here. We're getting a little bit of flexibility in those hamstrings again, but mostly we're releasing the shoulders. Nice deep breaths here. If you have the hands interlaced, let's bring them down towards our bums so that we have them by our hips. If we have our hands on our hips, let's go ahead and everyone release down to the floor. From here, I just want you to grab on to the opposite elbow. If you want to have a block instead to place your hands on and you don't want to shift, no worries there. Let that head hang. Then we're just going to slowly shift the weight from one side, giving a twist, and then to the other side. Now again, rocking is comforting for some, but it might not be for you today. So just decide what works and what doesn't. Make the modifications. Just a couple more breaths here. Releasing our hands down, softening the knees, and then let's roll up through each vertebrae. We're going to stack our shoulders and then our head comes up. Inhale the hands all the way up and then bring them down through center, strong mountain pose. All right, so we work biceps, triceps, back, a little bit into the chest. Let's go ahead and inhale all the way up and let's find our balance. Bring the hands to heart center. Go ahead and shift your weight. I'm shifting over to my right foot, lifting the left heel. Okay. Once I've gotten that, I can lift up the knee and hold it at about hip height, finding that balance. Then we can take it to the star. We're going to send the hands out, the legs out, and we're tipping a little bit over to the side. And then we're going to bring everything back in again, knee to 90 degrees, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach long, just find that balance. Feel the stability of the body, and then pull it back in. Tap down if you need to, I did there. Go ahead and do it one more time. Reach out to the side, hold a star pose. If you need to tap the toe down, soften the knee and you can bring the toe down, or you can keep it hovering in the air. Elbow finds knee, we're back into the side body work. So bring the elbow towards the knee, doesn't have to touch, and then reach back out. Side body work standing now. Exhale, crunch, and inhale, reach. Just one more. Breathe out, reach, hands to heart center, knee floats to the 90 degrees, and then place the foot down. Give it a little shake out. Inhale all the way up. Exhale to heart center. Just find your center here. Soften your knees, and then lift up the other heel. Again, right here, you're in a balance, and if this is where you want to stay and just slide those feet out, that's not a problem. Okay? If you want to try a full balance, go ahead and lift that knee up to 90 degrees. Okay, once we've got that, we're going to kick out to star. So tip out to the side, reach long, nice and slow. Again, we're trying to be as slow and thoughtful. Bring that knee up to 90 degrees, the hands to the center. Go ahead and do it again. Reach long, reach those fingertips, tip to the side, then use your core and pull yourself back into standing. Again, tapping down when you need to, I just did. One more time, we're going to reach out to that star, we're going to hold it, tapping the toe down if we need to. If we're good, we're going to find elbow and knee come towards one another, they may or may not touch. Let's squeeze in. And inhale to come back out, doing things in threes. Pull in, and inhale to reach out. Last time, exhale, reach out. Bring hands to heart center, knee to 90 degree bend out in front, and then place it down. Shake it out. Solid work. We're getting all along the core here into the side bodies. Definitely work the shoulders, backs of the arms, front of the arms. Let's bring it back down to our flows. So we're going to make our way down onto our mats. I'm at the back of my mat, inhaling my hands all the way up. bringing it down through the center as I exhale. Here I can walk myself out, get yourself into a downward dog position, and then we can do a chaturanga if we want to. Knees or toes come to your plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push back. All right, so let's drop to the knees. Go ahead and grab your band. We have some cushioning if you need to double up your mat for the knee on the right. Okay, if you need to, go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our band and kickstand out the opposite leg. Okay, band in my hand allows me to hook under the foot. And then I put my foot down. Now I'm putting my toes faced forward. If you need to turn them out to the side, that's fine. But if you can, straighten it out. You're going to get that stretch along the side right here of the ankle and into the calf, some of the muscles in the shin. Okay? We're going to release the one that is on the bottom hooked under the foot. Then you're going to cross the hand over. Okay? So what I have is right knee, left leg stretched out, right hand, hand on hip, okay? And I'm squeezing my butt. From here, I just want you to pull across, getting the top of the shoulder working, and then come down. Pull across, everything stays straight up. We're feeling the work in that hip, stabilizing the hips, and then let it go across. 2 more times, exhale, pull, and then back. 1 more time, pull, and then back. If you have a little bit more, we can reach the hand over the head as we pull, and then bring it back down. Okay? We can reach over the head. You gotta keep that foot really positioned down on the floor. That band's gonna snap away from you. Otherwise, we don't lift the hand over our head. All right? Pull across, lift the hand and reach. Try and strengthen through the hips. Bring it down. 1 more time, pull and reach. And then release. All right, unhook. Bring yourself onto the other side. Position. So the feet can be flat again. Remember, always saying whatever your choice is, feet flat or tucked. I like mine tucked. Extra padding for that knee. Sending the foot out. Go ahead and looping onto that foot. Placing the foot down, either toes pointed forward, squeeze the butt up tall, or we can turn those toes out. Okay, it's just a little bit more of a flexion in the ankle. If you have your toes pointed forward, a little bit more of a stretch, and really more difficult to push down when you're pulling. Okay, so release the bottom one. Cross it over. The reason why you release the bottom one is then your whole foot can press down on the band. That gives you a little bit more stability. If you find that your band is just really coming off of the foot, you can wrap it around it and then put it down, and that might help. Okay? And so once we've done that, shoulders up, back and down, hips are squared, hand on hip. All we're doing is pulling across, no bending, and then bringing it back. Squeeze the elbow, exhale across, feel that shoulder working, and then bring it down. Pull across, hips are stable, using glute. 1 more time, pull out, and bring it down. Here's the add-on. Reach over this time. Now we're leaning and we're sending the elbow out, and then we're resisting to come back. Exhale, reach, lean, and pull back. Really square the hips, brace the core, lots of side core work, those obliques. And 1 more, go ahead and pull, reach, and then bring yourself back. If you've looped that over the foot, unhook it. And then we're going to come back down onto hands and knees. Okay? We're going to set ourselves up for some back rows. So we've gotten into the stabilizers with the hips. You've gotten some work onto the legs. Last little bit with the band on the class today. We're going to do seated rows. Again, really good targeting into the rhomboids and the trapezius muscles. So we're going to start off. Let's start off with bent knees first. Okay, so bend those knees, round your feet, sit up nice and tall like we did at the beginning of the class, and my elbows are in at the sides. Okay, so we're going to pull, my thumbs point forward, and I've got them now turned to the sky, so I've got a good pull on the band. We can pull back, sit up nice and straight, we're not leaning back at all, and then we're just bringing it forward. This time you should be able to really feel your blades squeeze in. Before we're using our trapezius, but now we're squeezing the blades in the back. Very similar to what we did without the band when we were doing a look up to the sky and pulling back. But this time, back stable in a nice line, pull back, and then bring it in, okay? Now, if you're good, you can lengthen out those legs a little bit more, straighten them out, and same thing, sit up nice and tall, and we're going to pull those elbows right in at our side, squeeze into the back, look straight ahead, and then bring it forward. If you need a little more, walk your hands down further, and then you can pull and you've got a little more resistance. If you need less, you know just to lighten up by walking the hands to the edges of your band. Let's do it 2 more times. Exhale, squeeze. We really want to feel the muscles working. It's not a fast movement. This isn't a cardio class. We're squeezing and holding the tension, and then we're releasing it. 1 more time. Squeeze, hold here. So important. These muscles don't get worked when we sit all day and lean forward, looking at phones, looking at books, looking at computers, and then release. All right. So we've got a band on our feet. We roll our shoulders back and down. Knees can be soft here. And then we're just pulling ourselves in towards our chin towards our toes. Okay, so we're just stretching out the back. You can pull in, but the key here is just to lean forward. My eyes are closed. I'm just taking a breath here. If I am able to lengthen out those legs, I can get down a little bit further. You might want to walk the hands in by grabbing both of the sides of the band and then walking yourself down. If you have a lot of flexibility, and some of us do, we can release that band and we can just fold forward, holding onto the feet. Just a couple of nice deep breaths here. Feeling the lower back stretching out. And then everyone can just slowly walk themselves back up. I have released the band so I can walk myself back up. And then we're going to go ahead and grab for that band again. Bend at the knees so that you can put it on. And we'll do the lean back now, a row with a lean back, and plus we're going to add on to that one, okay? So feet are fully supported into the band, sitting up nice and tall. This time we're going to lean back and pull. And then we're going to come up. And now check it out. Elbows are going to go wide out to the side. And we're going to lean back and squeeze this way, working different parts of the back. So come up, elbows in at the side, pull back, lean back, look up, squeeze, and then come back up, elbows out to the side, pull back, look up, squeeze. Let's do that 2 more times. Elbows in, narrow roll, pull back, use the core as you lean back. Feet might want to lengthen out, and then lift yourself back up, pull out to the sides, lean back, core work, and up. 1 more time for good measure. Pull back, lean back, brace, lift up. If your core is starting to shake like mine, you're doing an awesome job. Lean back, squeeze the blades together, lift the chest. Exhale, come back, and unhook. Whew. Come into a nice seated position on our mat. We're going to be able to take that band now and just release, opening up as wide as you can. Okay, grabbing the edges of the band so it's nice and wide. We're just going to lift it up over our heads And then we're gonna pull it just behind the back. Open up here, tuck the chin down, feel that nice stretch so the blades are squeezing in towards one another, but your chin is down. You can look over to the right side. Nice big chest opener, and then roll down through the center and over to the left side. Bring yourself back in, chin tucked. Look up. Bring your band all the way down to the knees. If we want to walk our hands a little bit closer, because we know that we can have a little bit more movement in the shoulders, we can walk in a little bit closer. Lift all the way up. And this time we pull down and we see if we can go all the way behind us. Really squeeze. Inhale up. If it's too much, widen the hands or don't use the band at all. Okay? And come down. One more time. Inhale all the way up. Pause behind your head. And then slowly lower back down. And then one more time all the way up. Maybe we pause just behind the head. And bring yourself all the way down. Let's release the band. Let's go ahead and open up through a V-sit. Taking our hands behind us, we can lift our pelvis forward and that will open us up a little bit more. If you do have the band and you find that coming down onto one side, you can have that band, so have it close to you. I'll show you the option. If you have that block close to you and you want it in front of you, we're just gonna lean forward and stretch out the inner thighs, a little bit more of the hamstring. You can put your elbows on the block. You can have your hands on the floor. If you do have a block and you want to use it to support your head as you come forward, that's also really nice. And the other way is if we're comfortable, nothing is causing us any pain, we can still do nice deep breaths. We can lean forward. Just taking the time to feel the legs stretch. A lot of the time I've noticed in our yoga practices, other than some of the chaturangas and some of the side work that we do and side body, sometimes we do a side plank. Those stack your shoulders, but they don't often give you the strength required to do a lot of the pushing and pulling movements that we practice today with the band. There's a lot of stuff in life that we do with the pulling and pushing. We push doors open, we pull things towards us, we pull doors towards us. We pick up groceries, we use all those push-pull muscles. Let's walk ourselves up. Here's the option for the band. If you have the band close to you, you can hook it around the bottom of your foot. Some of us might not want to use the band for this one. That's fine too, but if you have the band, we can do the same thing that we did earlier. We can just walk ourselves down the band, but before we do that, I want you to twist your hips towards so that you're in line with that knee. If you need to bring the foot in a little bit more, please do. All right. Then we sit up nice and tall. And instead of leaning forward and rolling through the shoulders, I just want you to pull down and again, chin towards your toes. So again, we're lengthening through the back. We're getting a nice big stretch through the hamstring, a little bit through the adductors. If you do not need the band, then you can reach for the sole of the foot and hold here. But again, look at how high my chest is, and I'm drawing my chin towards the toes. It's a very different stretch than what you do when you release those shoulders. So take a deep breath in all the way into the back body. Exhale, and then roll the shoulders and bring the head down. Now you'll notice that the intensity is probably released from the back of the leg. You might get a little bit more of a stretch in the side body when you're in this forward fold. Then once we've done this, we're just going to release the band, able to walk ourselves all the way up along our legs, avoiding the kneecap. You don't want to press on the kneecap. And then centering yourself up. On to the other side. Again, if you need your band, go ahead and hook it up. Kick it out, bring the foot in a little bit more, or slide it out if you need a little bit more into the hip. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're turning towards the knee. And then we're leading with the chest. We almost want to look up to the sky a little bit and then pull yourself down. But you want to see what's going on right ahead of you. You don't want to look down. You want to see what's going on. Almost as if you're watching a TV show and you just don't want to miss that important part. So you're still looking up even though you're bringing the weight of your torso down. Again, if we walk to the end of our band and we want to hold on to our feet, we can. And again, we're still looking up. We're feeling this intense stretch almost into the back of the knee, into the hamstrings, into the adductors, maybe into the back. Take a deep breath in. Roll the shoulders, let the head fall, and just notice where the change has happened, where we are now feeling the stretch. A couple of more deep breaths here. Walking yourself up into your seated posture. Unhooking that band. If you have a block with you and you want a little bit of a back bend for your Shavasana pose, we can do that. If you don't have a block, not to worry. We're just swinging ourselves over onto our mats. We're going to lie ourselves down. I like holding onto the back of the knees and lowering myself down, but you get yourself down however you want to. I like pulling the knees into my chest and then just giving a little rock side to side before we go into our final Shavasana pose. Then we release one leg down, release the other foot down. And now we're in a position to lift up our hips. So if you have that block and you want to place it underneath your pelvis, you can lift up your hips, slide the block underneath the pelvis. Make sure your pelvis is fully supported. And then we can put all the weight onto that block. Let those hands just fall out to the side. Palms might be up, palms might be down. Supination or pronation, that's entirely up to you. Just do whatever feels right. Go ahead and shake your head side to side. Eyes might be open. Mine happen to be closed. And then just let the head fall to a natural position. If you still have your knees bent, we can walk the feet out, keeping the knees together and just letting the knees fall down in towards your mat. You might feel a nice little hip release here, and this might be where you want to stay. If you want to bring it to the back, this is where we walk our feet back into hip distance apart, and then sliding that heel all the way down the mat so that we're not putting any pressure on the back, and then let the foot fall out to the side. See if that feels okay for your back, and then if you're feeling it, it's okay, slide the other heel all the way down the mat. Again, we're not using muscles here, we're just sliding along the surface of the ground and then letting the feet fall out to the side. At any point the back is telling you it's a little too much, bend the knees, or bend the knees and lift hips to remove the block. Let's just take a moment to go over what we practiced today. Started off with some deep breathing and some side body stretches. Then we moved into our tabletop where we really worked those wrists. We were on those wrists for a little while, so even though we're in our Shavasana now, just think about those wrists. Take a couple of deep breaths. If you need to roll out those wrists a couple of times because now you're noticing them, feel free to do that, it's okay. And then just relax. We did a lot of side body crunching, whether it was standing or on our tabletop position. So if you feel any little bit of work still happening in the side body, take a giant breath in, expand the ribs into the belly, big breath. And then exhale, release the back, the side body, and the core in the front. We got up and did some work in those hips. So if we need to just shimmy on the block or on our floor, on our mat, we squeeze one butt cheek, it rises us up, and then we release it, squeeze the other one. That's how you get a nice good shimmy going. And then after we've done that a couple times, we can squeeze both of our butt cheeks,
right as tight as you can get it. Hold the squeeze. Take a deep breath in while you're squeezing. Exhale and release all of the glute and hip muscles from working. Let's go ahead and think about the toes. I had mine tucked quite a bit in our practice today. You may or may not have. So if you need to roll those ankles or wiggle those toes, maybe just giving some love and stretching out the calves. We did do a lot of walking the dog and stretching out the calves. So just roll them out, do what you need to do. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and let it go. And the place that causes us most of the grief in modern day society are those shoulders. So if we have the ability to slide those hands down beside us and reach towards the bottom of our mat, we can then tuck the shoulder blades in underneath us, lifting the chest up. We can tuck the chin in and lengthen out. We can arch the back even more, whether we're on a block or on the ground. Take a deep breath in and really let the body expand up towards the sky. Big inhale. Exhale, let the shoulders now slide out to where they want to be. Let your chest drop. Let those hands just slide out to where they want to go. Gently rock head side to side. Then just come into a position that feels right for your neck. Let the lips part. Let the tongue be heavy in the back of the mouth. Soften the eyes. Let the little muscles around the eyes just start to soften. Release any tension you might have in your brows. They do hold a lot of expression for us, so just let them relax. Any tension in the forehead, just try and let it dissipate. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Just hold your silence for the next 60 seconds. Just following either your body scan again or your breath. That you're in the comfort of your own environment, and if you want to stay in your Shavasana a little bit longer, please feel free to do so. If we want to bring awareness back into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, rolling wrists and ankles, whatever is available to you. You do it in one direction, maybe you do it in the other direction. We can then place those hands down, but slide one heel gently towards your body. Again, slide the other heel towards the body. Both knees are bent, heels are close to your buttocks. Lifting your body up very gently. If you have that block, slide it out from underneath you. And then lower yourself back down. One knee back into the chest, followed by the other. Hands on your knees and drawing big circles, allowing the lower back and the pelvis to get a bit of a massage as we roll in one direction. Then we can do it in the other direction, even it out, make it feel right for you. Then we can start a rock side to side. And again, if rocking isn't for you, you're just choosing a side to rock onto. So choose to rock a little bit more, a little less. And then roll onto your side, stack those knees up. Use the bottom hand as the pillow.
Other hand comes in front of your belly button. Just notice the hips stacked, the knees stacked, shoulders stacked upon one another. Side lying posture, letting gravity change the way our body feels now that we've been lying on our back for a period of time. Pressing into the hand in front of your belly button so that you can press off and use the pressing muscles. Use the other hand to walk yourself up, push. Come back into the center of your mat, eyes open or closed. We take that deep breath in all the way up. Bring the hands down to heart center, chin to chest, reach behind you, dive all the way down. Then we're gonna rise all the way up, maybe into that back bend. See if we've got a little bit more fluidity in the spine. Exhale, bring it all the way down. Our last one, reach behind you. Inhale all the way up. Head stays neutral. Hands come to heart center. And thank you so much for practicing today. I hope you feel a little bit stronger in the upper body. We have a little bit more stability in the hips, and we got a lot of side body work. Thank you. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.